Hi, everybody. Michael Fisk. Today is April 4th, Thursday. Tri-State Live on Facebook. We're just getting started here. Give it a few seconds here for people to get logged on. Standard safety message: if you're watching this while you're driving, please don't. Regardless if you're a tri-state, driver and employee or not. Just not a good idea, right? So, if you are able to engage and share questions and thoughts and comments, safely, please do. We cover a lot of things today, and happy to engage in any questions or comments that you have there. So Frank and Teresa Armato, hi. Tracy Veneer, hi. There, we'll give it just a few more seconds, another 30 seconds, to let people get logged on. Let me know if you can hear me okay, please. My voice is a little raspy. I've been struggling, a couple of weeks actually. I feel fine, but I think it's just kind of a little bit of fatigue maybe, and just need to give the voice a rest a little bit here. So, Martha Barnes, hi to you in there. So, yeah, I'll give it just a few seconds here. No sound. So, Frank and Teresa, you can't hear me? Is that right? Nobody can hear me? Daniel, Ginger, Norad, Chantel Bird, hi. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Well, Tracy says she can hear me. So, Frank and Teresa, maybe check your speakers, there. So, anyway, hopefully everybody else can hear me fine. We'll get started here. I don't know if the counter's right on how many people have joined on, but I don't want to stall and delay too much more here. The first big thing is, for our company drivers in particular, this is a week that you've seen new pay plan changes coming in. And again, obviously, our owner operators, remain on their standard contract. But, this is a new pay plan that, we put in place for all of our company drivers. And I think it's a pretty revolutionary one. I mean, I'm not aware of any other over-the-road trucking company that is guaranteeing driver wages the way that we are. I mean, there's companies that pay well out there. I'm not saying that there aren't other companies that pay well, but as we all know, most of trucking is cents per mile, right? I mean, we started, when I say we, Roadmaster Group and SLT, 10 years ago, started a guaranteed day base. I mean, but then, in the last 10 years, we've always had a mileage component, to that as well. And I've shared this, before, but, I drove myself for a couple of years. My background was white collar, venture capital, involved some startups and internet, and everything. And it's a long story of how I got into trucking, but I had a CDL for 2 years, longer than that, but I drove full time for 2 years. And one of the things that just, I found amazing was how poorly drivers were treated. And many of you have been driving, a lot longer than the 10 years that I've been in the industry, here, but I don't know when that started. I mean, you think about in the 70s and 80s when I was a kid. You ask a little boy in particular, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And policeman, fireman, truck driver, very honorable professions, right? And it's just kind of maybe a remark on our society, that those three industries I just listed are not as revered, as they used to be, type of thing. But I was just alarmed and amazed by how poorly drivers were treated in the trucking industry. I think since COVID, that's changed a bit, maybe just slightly, type of thing. But it's that's something that I continue to be aware of and sensitive to, and I hope you feel that the company is, always, looking at that. I know we have 800, drivers. I know some of you we don't do it right. I know some of you don't agree, with the decisions we've made. I understand that. And unfortunately, with 800 people, 10 people, we're not always going to agree, there. But we do strive to do the right thing, day in and day out. Just as I know that each of you do. I mean, it's, it bothers me when the whole industry is painted, by the lower 20%, right? I mean, it's and I, I hope you know that we do value and respect the work that you do. That we're not going to judge. I don't want to be judged, by the worst performance of my day or the worst performance of my peers, type of thing. I mean, it's we strive really hard to make sure that all of our drivers understand that we are co-workers. We just have different job descriptions, and I think this new pay plan really cements that. I mean, it's I know what I'm going to get paid, and drivers typically do not. Not now you do. There's some responsibilities to that, right? I mean, it's part of the things that we did away with, was the performance bonus, that was tied to sending in your paperwork and safe miles, no violations, type of thing. We still need that. I mean, it's if we see that paperwork is challenged getting in, listen. I mean, that's something that has to be addressed. And it has to be addressed pretty importantly. There's aspects of my job that I don't love, and minutia or whatever. It's just part of my job, type of thing. And it just never made sense to me that if a driver makes a mistake or has a bad day, well, we should take it out of their pay, type of thing. I mean, it's and the industry, I think, overall still has to continue to evolve and change, and that's the general philosophy, of how we got to our pay plan now. I mean, it's you earn it, you do the work, you're away from home, you make those sacrifices. It's a sign of respect, to me, and I hope that's how each of you guys take it. There's a reason maybe that why the industry hasn't gone to it, and the reason why is they just don't trust drivers. And excuse me, but I think that's bullshit. I mean, it's it's either we need to interview better, we need to hire better, we need to coach, we need whatever it is we need to do. Regardless if you're a driver or in the office, we have a responsibility, and if we want to keep our jobs, then we do our jobs. So anyway, I mean, it's I just kind of wanted to comment on that. I mean, it's it's. I remember years ago, our old CEO John Wilbur, said, "Hey, listen, we like to see all of our over-the-road drivers, get paid six figures," and I think we're pretty close to that, here. So, anyway, please keep up with the paperwork. Please remain safe. Again, you're going to hear, more clear, expectations of what doing a good job is, regardless if it's a 3,700 miles. The safety parameters. The minutia of doing the DVIRs and the paperwork, that kind of stuff. Our safety scores, again, and this is 100% drivers, is really really good right now. I mean, it's and it's intentional. It's not accidental. I was about to just throw out the whole thing, knock on wood, but it's not luck. I mean, it's due to the professionalism of each of you. That we're doing well, and things are healthy, especially relative to the rest of the trucking industry right now. So anyway, I applaud each of you, and just kind of want to comment on that. There. It's a little, hey Mike, with a structure change for owner operators. Again, I mean, the market is, the 70%, standard contract there. Of course, your rates go up and down. Tri-State's rates go up and down. I mean, it's when freight is plentiful, we're able to get higher rates. I mean, that's just the way the industry works. Owner operators and independent contractors. You guys, I'm not going to go on much of a tangent, but I just remark on owner operators. There's a lot of legislation where the government Of various states. I mean, it's already happened in California, but other state legislation, but even federal legislation is trying to remove owner operators and independent contractors from the trucking industry. We feel like that's a huge mistake. However, the reasons why those lines are being blurred, or the Teamsters and other groups that are trying to remove owner operators are making headwind of success, is because so many companies do not do things properly, legally, the right way, there. And so it's just a low. I mean, it's there's conversations about should we pay our independent contractors through a different methodology, rate per mile or whatever, um, but regardless, I mean, it's we do things intentionally again, and the way that we, our business relationships and the contracts and everything we have set up with the independent contractor owner operators is, keeps us within, the legal, parameters safely, there. Our owner operators do well. Again, I've said this before. Are you making the same revenue that you did in 2022? No, I'm sure you're not. But nobody in trucking is, right? I mean, it's in 2023, tri-state revenues were down, and we had a good year. But it wasn't down as much as most of trucking. I mean, it's our productivity, our performance is probably top 1% in the trucking industry. Our owner operators are top 1% of independent contractors, in the industry out there. So anyway, their volatility, owner operators ride that with Tri-State, ride that with Roadmaster Group companies. That's just part of being an independent contractor, there. So anyway, the again, Slow, I'm speaking on faster. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. There. If you're asking about rates, again, I mean, trust me, our sales group and our CSRs, I mean, we get the most rate that we can, but our customers have to be able to afford it, right? I mean, it's and everybody's impacted, by all of those kind of things. So, TFI. Let me update a bit on TFI. Okay, I mean, it's and as I mentioned before, we were bound somewhat on what we could share, prior to close. TFI did officially close on the Dasky acquisition on Monday. What that means, to you and I is really nothing. I mean, it's especially what we do, especially given our clearances and everything. I mean, it's business as usual, and there's limited involvement, that the parent company can really have and how we do things. I mean, it's and so that's for better and for worse, there. But I doubt that you guys felt anything. The pay plan change was coincidental. I mean, there's a lot of people that, oh yeah, TFI is doing this, forcing this, requiring this. We've been in conversations about this pay plan changes for 6-8 months, long before TFI was even in the picture, type of thing. So what we do is important. What we do is important to the government, and what we do well. And so it's yeah, it's business as usual. But TFI did close on the Dasky acquisition. Will anything change, and when will things change? I don't know. I mean, it's again, I think on our day-to-day operations, we have to have a lot of autonomy, which is insisted on by FOCI and the government, there. But benefits and that kind of stuff might change. My understanding, that the TFI current benefits might be better than what we have now. I mean, we have you guys know Mike McRoberts, one of our driver managers. He used to work for a TFI company, and that was his observation, is that they had really strong benefits. But our benefits won't change, before 2025. They should all remain the same as they are for at least the remainder of 2024. And as we have news or information, we'll certainly share that with everybody. So, Anthony, I think I just addressed your question on that there. So, but yeah, good question. Again, we see what the other competition does, and and DoD boards and that kind of stuff, and we're healthy. I mean, it's we have a strong position, there, and we're very optimistic continuing to go in the future. Um, One thing that we are expanding more into is tanker opportunities. And so, Stern sent out a survey of to see how many of you had current tanker experience. You're going to hear more about those tanker opportunities. Listen, we're mostly a dry van fleet. If you don't want to do tanker, you don't have to do tanker. Obviously we have tanker endorsements, because sometimes we do the 1,000 gallons of bulk liquid or whatever. But there are going to be more opportunities in the tanker arena. So for those of you interested in doing more tanker work, please let us know. I ideally have tanker experience already, but if you don't, we're happy to help you get that training and experience necessary, so you can do that safely, there. So, the pay period getting faster. So it's, well, yeah, I think the 10-day period is simply to let all the billing, go through the system. I mean, it's, most of trucking is a 90-day bill cycle. I mean, it's, we present a bill, and sometimes, our customers don't pay us, for 90 days out there. We kind of shrink that, for our owner operators. I mean, it's, again, these are kind of the details that I think a lot of owner operators are not aware of. Out there. I mean, it's we did everything exactly the way, because think of it, Tri-State and our owner operators are in the same business. We run trucks, you run truck. Now you just happen to run one truck, and we run 400 or whatever, type of thing. But in that is the billing, and all of that, and so that 10 days is really required to let the accounting process all go through, you get the settlements, settled, and then, get the proper payment to owner operators. There we're not a factor load board. Load boards, oftentimes pay you at the time, but that's because they're running brokerage stuff. Where they get paid quicker. That kind of stuff. So it's we can look at the 10-day period, but I don't know how to shrink that. To be honest with you. So. Okay. Other questions, Frank? And is it open to owner operators? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Now, maybe I should be a little, careful before I say that. There, but I don't see any reason why we can't get owner operators involved in our tanker work, so long as you've got the experience, pulling, tanker, freight and everything. But again, don't hold me to that yet. But I think that's a reasonable question, and my guess is we can figure out, how to get owner operators involved into that. So. Martha, what about some type of incentive for good inspections? And again, Martha, this it's I think you're an owner operator, aren't you, Martha? I mean, it's anyway, it's for owner operators, I mean, again, you're a trucking company. You're supposed to run clean inspections. Tri-State has to run clean inspections, type of thing, right? As a company driver, we looked at a lot of those accessorials, and you saw, and for company drivers, we shrunk, the accessorial list. I don't know, we had 8 or 10, one time that we paid, and we're probably down to 3 or 4 now, type of thing. And just putting it all into pay, and it's a two-edged sword, the way the trucking industry pays, right? I mean, is it fair, that the trucking industry pays cents per mile? Well, if you're a team and you run 6,000 miles, it's 60 cents a mile. Yeah, I mean, you love that, right? But you don't control your miles, there, right? I mean, it's, so is it fair when you only run 3,000 miles a week? Then it's blatantly not fair. And you're going to get more or less miles than heavy miles, right? And ultimately, the industry, puts all the economic burden on drivers. So Martha, you ask, I mean, it's, should we do an extra compensation for having a good inspection? We can. But I would suggest that it's a basic part of doing our jobs well. I mean, it's I should I get extra compensation, from my boss, because, I don't know. I mean, I don't get into HR violations. Maybe, but I think that's just an inherent part of my job, type of thing, right? And so, Martha, that's a reasonable question, but think about, what, how the industry pays drivers, and whether it's better to be, a la carte. Okay, if you do this, you're going to pay for this. If we do that, but if you don't do that, you're not going to get paid for that. I for me, and for how we built this, I mean, we're going to assume a level of professionalism, and we're going to assume in the respect that, hey, we're going to do what's necessary to do a good job, here. So, anyway, yeah, I see a lot of you, making comments about tankers. I'm not going to be able to, take that, specifically. Send a message to your driver manager, or to me, okay, and then we can follow up on it. Tracy, no baffles and everything. Again, it's depending on the product, which allows baffles. We don't, always have, discretion, on that. So, that's not something that we'll get into, real deeply here. So yeah, Tracy just passed 11-1 inspection with flying colors. Thank you. I mean, it's and should you receive, recognition for that? Yes, you should. And we, we need to figure out, those things. But again, it's all of our jobs. We have to do, certain things, and we have to do it right, and we have to do it right every single day. And overall, our pay, should be reflective of, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do a good job each day. I mean, it's it doesn't matter whether the truck next to me is doing the same good job or not, or worse or better. I'm getting a fair wage, and I'm getting paid fairly. Is all we're trying to do here. So, anyway, Jim Bob, lipstick on a pig, the way the industry pays drivers. I agree. And we're just trying to say, hey, listen, here's what it is. I mean, it's and take away a lot of that fine print there. So anyway, I don't have anything else to share with them, and I think we're caught up on questions and comments. So, listen, appreciate all of you. I mean, it's we're heading into spring. Hopefully the I know there's some weather issues this week, but hopefully we're getting away from more and more of that. Last week we still had some spring weather, some snow and ice, so it can happen, and it's be careful. I mean, it's we've had a pretty good winter. We had a couple of incidents last week that it was a bit disappointing, to be honest with you, but let's not get complacent, type of thing, but overall, we're a great company. We do great work. We have great drivers, and I'm really appreciative of all of you, and the work that you do. For those of you who have tanker interest, go ahead and send in a message to your driver manager, or to me, and we'll get that processed. Thanks much, everybody. Have a great day.